and gentlemen, my name is Jeff Crane. We are at the BitAngels Tokenize event in Las Vegas 2025. We are at the old Mike Tyson mansion where tigers used to roam. And I'm sitting here next to my new friend, Andrey, who's just about to get on a plane to go back to Toronto. Andrey, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
So, have you been to one of Michael's events before?
I have, yes. I've had the pleasure of knowing Michael for a number of years.
Is that right?
Yeah. So,
when did you first meet Michael?
It was probably in 2018.
Okay.
At one of the Bitcoin events in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was having an event at his
penthouse
there, and
were you there for the fight?
Yes, I was. I
was in the same room with you.
That's right.
So we were all in the room.
Yes, right.
And there was a couch.
Yeah.
And there was the fight.
That's right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Back when Maxine and Michael Turpin.
Right. That's right.
There you go, bro. What were you doing back then?
So I used to run one of the first licensed and largest crypto exchanges in Canada called Coinberry.
Okay.
I launched that business in 2017. And we approached the regulators very early on, and in 2020 now, got the first Canadian regulatory approval to operate, which was very exciting. So that was my business back then. I sold that company in 23.
Congrats.
And launched my current business, Apex Lending, which last month became the first regulatory approved crypto-backed lending platform in Canada.
Wow.
So very excited about that.
How does that happen? I mean,
oh my goodness,
dude,
lot of
all
work.
The minutia and you got to know somebody.
You obviously have
a pedigree or else they wouldn't let you in.
I mean, look, what we did very smart with Coinberry, my previous business, is we approached them very early on before anybody else did. And I'm an engineer by trade. I have an MBA, so I came at the industry with sort of the philosophy of building compliant, stable, successful businesses. Not the sort of this was during the ICO craze, so none of that, none of those pump and dumps. And so when we approached the regulators, they listened. They said they were actually very helpful and very happy that somebody reached out to them. Because, crypto space and regulators don't always see eye to eye, and especially early on, a lot of the industry, a lot of the space was quite anti-government, anti-establishment. We took a unique approach, and that paid off. Allowed us to build a lot of rapport and a great relationship with the regulators. So then, when I launched Apex in 23, we knocked on that door again and said, "Hey, it's us again," and they said, "Okay, come."
That's
listen.
Amazing.
And so, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the mechanics of Apex Lending. What does that mean?
Absolutely. So we provide safe, secure, compliant, and regulated loans, both in Canada and the US. And so we provide loans backed by Bitcoin and Ethereum. These loans are held in segregated cold storage custody on a per loan basis, so they're visible to the borrower for the duration of the loan. We have a very, very flexible product, so we give out loans from 20% to 60% loan to value. Liquidation at 90%, terms anywhere from 3 months to 5 years. And so it's a very flexible product. At the same time, very, very safe, secure, transparent, and regulated. And one key attribute of the way we do business is the actual ownership, the title of the crypto collateral, so the Bitcoin that our borrowers pledge, that remains with the borrower for the duration of the loan. So it's not ours, so in case of any bankruptcy proceedings or anything, that property, that collateral, remains with the borrower. It's very, very important.
Now, when you do these loans, is it strictly token on token? Is it converted to fiat? Like, what kind of loans do you do?
So we do fiat loans. So fiat loans against Bitcoin and Ethereum, stablecoin loans as well. And so, but it's not. We don't lend out crypto, and we don't do any, which is very important. We don't do anything with the collateral. It's not rehypothecated. It's not reinvested. It stays in that same wallet, so it's very, very safe. And same token, we don't pay out yield. We don't yield farm. It's a very, very regulated, safe, and secure play for retail borrowers, but as well for institutions.
Do you have the other side of the board where you're staking things versus loaning?
So we do stake the collateral when the opportunity presents itself. Absolutely, but again, we don't yield farm it out. We don't reinvest it or lend it out.
That would probably be another set of regulations or another
it's also,
set of responsibilities.
But it's also exactly what led to the failures of the past, the Celsius and BlockFis, is people started doing exactly that. And so we chose to play, to build a business model which is very, very robust in nature. And so we have two verticals to the business. One is this direct-to-consumer lending platform, and the second is a white label solution. So we offer our tech stack to other lenders, to banks, credit unions, other fintechs that are looking to get into the space and offer crypto-backed loans to their own clients. And so our white label solution is actually gaining a lot of traction, there's a lot of interest from financial institutions. And it's a very interesting shift because rewind back 10 years ago when I was starting my previous business, banks wouldn't even listen.
Sure.
You know, they heard crypto, they ran out the door. And now the shift in discussion is quite paramount, it's quite palatable.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with the changing, changing tides in the US and the sort of the new administration and the support that the industry is getting. And you see that right away.
You know, and also it's kind of like the old days of Web 1 where all of a sudden we all needed a website and, you know, your brother-in-law's nephew kind of built the website. And so, you know, 10 years is a long time in our community, right?
That's
so
right.
now you have these people who have been in crypto and now they're employees and they're sitting on boards and they're making decisions. They get it, right? And so you're not talking to somebody with an old archaic mindset.
Exactly.
You have people who are like, okay, what I like about what you did originally, I can only imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, tell me if this is what you did. Maybe you went in and you sat the chair up next to him and go, here's what's gonna happen. In the next 6 months to a year, you're gonna have every thief on the planet knocking on your door, telling you something you don't understand, and because it's so complicated, you're gonna buy it because you think it's what you need. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you the right solution, but we're also gonna protect you from the thieves. Did you do any of that kind of consulting?
Well, I mean, look, our work with the regulators was sort of a precursor to those kind of discussions.
Okay.
Because now we walk in the door and we say we're a regulated entity. Here's the paperwork.
huge.
And so it's the amount of doors that are, I mean, look, it wasn't easy to do. It took us over a year and a half to get through that process. But the amount of doors that's open is quite substantial. And so walking into those discussions and those conversations, having that sort of, having that paperwork with you really. And that's what I was, I just had a talk, I was on a panel here at Tokenize. And one of the key sort of points that I wanted to get across is that working with regulators doesn't necessarily mean, it shouldn't necessarily be something bad for our industry. Regulatory approval, regulatory oversight is what's going to allow us to offer the benefits of blockchain, the benefits of crypto to the masses. Right now, we're still not at the mass adoption point at all. And Michael was talking about that during his talk. We're not at mass adoption yet.
Yeah.
The way to get to mass adoption is through two key points from my perspective. One is regulatory approval. That's going to give people comfort and confidence, and two is simplified UX UI.
Absolutely.
We need products that are easy to use, because try going on DeFi right now if you're not in this space and if you haven't. Look, I've been in this for almost a decade, and I find it sometimes a little bit confusing and unintuitive. So we need to build out products that are simple to use, easy to use, and that the consumer has confidence and comfort in, and that are regulated, protected, safe, and secure.
And we're almost done with this interview, and Andrey, it's been fascinating. Oh my gosh, I'm sure we could sit here for about an hour. You said something that really sparks my mind, in that we have a responsibility, like we do to our children and our family and the world, but we have a responsibility to be a good steward over not only ourselves and our own actions, right? But to also be a governance or a protector of what's to be. Because what you just said was really quite interesting, because there are people out there who are doing things not necessarily the right way, and nobody was stopping them.
Absolutely.
There was investors, there were fans, customers, and it's like a woman getting mugged on the subway and nobody doing anything.
Yeah, and people lost a lot of money. That's why, for all the love and hate relationship we have with regulators, overarchingly, they're there to protect the end consumer. And it's all great, we all make a lot of money when Bitcoin, goes to the moon. I love that. But I hate knowing that there's so many people being taken advantage of that just don't know. Not everybody's as educated, not everybody's at that level. And so you're absolutely right, it's our responsibility to make sure that we are we are stewards of this industry in a positive manner, and we bring benefit, the benefit of this technology to the world globally, sustainably, and at scale.
Well, listen, Andrey, it's been a real pleasure. Do me a favor, as we look into the camera, could you give this current generation, the future generation, maybe just a bit of advice, or something that you'd like to impart to them and have them look forward to in the future in our career?
Look, education is key to success, is key to freedom. When you know, and knowledge is power, you're able to make the right decisions. Maybe you'll make the wrong decisions at first, but you'll be able to learn from those mistakes, and eventually you'll make the right decisions. Stay in school, educate yourself, read up on crypto. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin just because it's $100,000. Buy $10 worth. Get into this space, start learning. Education and knowledge is power. It will set you free.
Excellent, excellent advice. I concur. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Andrey, thank you, my
Thank you, sir.
friend. Hey, and have a great flight back
Thank
to
you.
Toronto.
Thank you.